Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today we're out in my food forest and we're going to do a harvest that I've been waiting for almost a year. Now, I've had some health problems in the past, and part of those health problems caused me not to be able to sleep very well. And so I have been using an herb called Ashwaganda, which has really helped. And I'd wondered if it was possible to grow it here in Utah, and read that it's a perennial in India and is not frost tolerant. But if you're going to be harvesting the roots, sorry, there's a bee. Actually, that's a hornet. Anyway, if you're going to be harvesting the roots, you're going to be using it as an annual anyway. So I decided to take the chance, find some seed, and see if it would grow here in Utah. So I started the seed in March, and I'll link a video up at the top just to show you how that process worked. But I up-potted them until they were in 1-gallon containers, and I put them out here in my food forest in June, the very beginning of June. Now, it has been an astounding success. They have grown, they have flowered, the fruit has ripened, and they are ready to harvest. And let me show you what they look like now and show you how we know they're ready to harvest. Now, actually, to be honest, one of the main reasons we are harvesting them now is we have a frost coming tomorrow night. And this frost is going to hit about 27 degrees. And from the research that I did yesterday, anything under 28 degrees is going to start to damage the roots. Now, according to the research that I read, these are ready to harvest about 90 days after you plant them. And they're ready to harvest when the fruit turns brown and starts to ripen. Now let me show you what the fruit looks like. Now we are not harvesting the plant for the fruit. The only reason I'm going to be using this fruit is to save the seeds for next year. Now I have heard that you can use it as rennet in making cheese, but you know, I don't know, I'm not into that, so we're just going to save the seeds for planting next year and probably to share with friends. So this is what the fruit looks like. Oh, I dropped it. It's in this little papery husk. We're having a hard time getting everything to focus. So that is how you know when the fruit is ready to harvest. It's ready to harvest when the husks on the fruit turn brown and the fruit is ripe. And let me show you the first one that I harvested, and then we'll go and harvest some more. Now this is the first one that I harvested. It was one of my smaller ones. I just wanted to see how easy it was going to be. I used my fork there, loosened the roots, and this is what we're after. We're after the roots. And these look a lot like the roots that I saw in the videos. We're going to soak these in water, remove the leaves, soak these in water, clean them up, and then dry them. And this is what you use to make the powder to make teas. You can also put these, probably take these as a capsule, but I like using it as a tea. Now it is quite bitter, so I make a golden milk that tastes really good with this. Now I have heard that there's being research done on also using the leaves, but that research I think is not completed. So we're just going to put these leaves in the compost. These are all the seeds that I got from just that one tiny plant. We're going to save all the seeds that we can, compost the rest, and then dry the roots. I'm really excited. So let's get harvesting. So the next one I've decided to harvest is this really large one. I want to see what the roots look like because this has been so big and healthy. Now the tiny plants are the ones that I grew in a smaller pot. I did not grow the smaller plants in a bigger pot over the winter. I ran out of the 1-gallon pots. I'm thinking for next year, when I up-pot them, all of them are going to go into the gallon pots so the roots have room to grow a little bit more. And that way we can get big plants like this one. Now the average height is supposed to be 3 feet tall, 2.5 to 3 feet tall, and I'd say these have hit 3 feet tall. I'm 5 feet tall, so I think these have hit full size. So let's see what the roots will look like on this one. Now from my research, the best way to harvest them is to use a fork and very carefully loosen the soil. Now I did water these really well last night, and I do have a sandy topsoil that I brought in this area. And it seems to be coming up really easily. So we're going to loosen it all the way around and then pull it out of the ground. Make sure not to puncture my drip lines. Okay, I think this one's loosened enough to be able to just pull it out of the ground. Shake the dirt off of this. And look at the size of this plant and look at the roots. Let me bring you a little bit closer to show you that. So this plant is an amazing size. Look at that. And look at the roots. So this is the size of the roots that I've seen harvested on all the videos. We'll cut all of these up, we'll wash them off and then dehydrate them. And we'll harvest all of those seeds. Now before I finish this harvest, I'll just tell you a little bit about the conditions they like to grow in. Because these plants are from India, they like really well-drained soil, and they like it to be dry and very hot. According to what my research that I did actually yesterday, the hotter it is, the better they will grow. And we've had 100-degree temperatures several times this year, so I think that's why they did so well. If you live in a cooler climate with heavy soils, they probably won't do as well. Now I did amend my soil here, as I said, with a lot, probably about 6 inches of sandy topsoil, and I only watered them about once a week, and they did really well. They also don't need a ton of fertilizer. If your soil is deficient in phosphorus and potassium, I would add a little bit of that, and then just a tiniest bit of nitrogen if needed. But generally speaking, they're not going to need that much nitrogen. I also would not amend the soils with any compost, as I would think that would make it too rich for the roots. So I will get the rest of these harvested, and then we'll be back and show you the results. Look at how many seeds there are in there. Now I'm really hoping that these don't self-seed really heavily. As I said, they are not normally grown here in Utah. And I tried to look it up to see if they reseeded themselves heavily, and I couldn't find any information on that. So hopefully they don't reseed into a forest in my compost pile, but at least they grew really well. And there they all are. Of the 7 plants that I planted, 7 grew really well. There was the one that I showed you at first that I've already cut up. This one on the end was the same size as that one. I think these stayed in a little bit bigger than a regular nursery size pot. So they had smaller root systems when they went in the ground. But all the rest were in gallon pots when I transplanted them, and they did really, really well. So I'm going to harvest all of these seeds, cut up the roots, and then once they're dehydrated, maybe I'll do another video and show you how much I got. But from the video that I watched last night, they said if you get the plant to grow to full size, it'll take about 12 plants to get a pound of the dried roots. Now, I definitely don't need a pound. We'll see how far these get me once they're powdered up. But I'm really excited that this worked. Now, I'm really happy that my experiment worked, and I would like to challenge you to think of something that you'd like to grow that you have not grown in the past and see what happens. That's all you can really do, is just try it and see. If it doesn't work, then you know it doesn't work. Sometimes you can tweak things a little bit and get it to work. Other times you just need to move on to the next thing. And I'm really happy that you joined me today on this video. If my videos are helpful to you, please like, subscribe, share them with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.